The class is Memory of Jared Orchen, and today we're going to learn about the beginning of Parshat Vayera. Even this week is Lech Lecha, but Vayera will be around the corner very fast. The story is about Abraham, the three angels who came to visit Abraham. Abraham was ready to circumcise himself. God told him when he was, how old was he? How old was 99. 99-year-old. He was ready to circumcise. And then after the circumcise, we begin the next week's Parsha. This is by the end of this week's Parsha, right? God told Abraham to circumcise, Ishmael circumcised, and all of his servant. And the beginning of Vayera is how Hashem appeared to Abraham, and then he saw three guests. It's a whole story. There is a story about one of the Chabad rabbis who was a young child. He came from Cheder, they learned Parshas Vayera, he came Friday home, and he cried. That his father, the Rebbe, or his grandfather asked him, why are you crying? His grandfather asked him. That he told them, why Hashem appeared to Abraham and not to me? Then the Rebbe told them, a man by the age of 99 years old understands and is ready to circumcise himself. What means he is ready to circumcise? He understands this is not yet complete. After all what he did for God and did for humanity, he is not complete. He still has to go through a correction, if you want. Deserves God should reveal himself to him. Then we will learn from the text, the beginning, this story about the three angels. Then we'll see how the Talmud analyzes every piece of the story and learns into the story, understand the story on a much deeper level.
He was circumcised after Abraham was born?
After Isaac, you mean? No, before
Abraham.
Isaac was born.
Before.
Abraham circumcised himself before Isaac was born, a year before Isaac was born. Ishmael was circumcised when he was 13 years old.
Right, I know that.
No.
But
Yes, he was born before Abraham.
Ishmael was born before Isaac, 13 years before Isaac.
But he was circumcised when he was born?
No,
Ishmael?
no.
So he was
The
not-
mitzvah of Brit Milah only took place when Abraham was 99 and Ishmael was 13.
So it was not kosher when he was born.
No, he wasn't.
Okay, we will learn the Parsha. You want to start to read?
God appeared to Abraham in the plains of Mamre while he was sitting at the entrance of the tent in the hottest part of the day. Abraham lifted his eyes and saw three strangers standing a short distance from him. When he saw them from the entrance of the tent, he ran to greet them, bowing down to the ground.
Okay, that what you learn here. God appeared to Abraham. It was a very hot day. And then he saw three people, strangers, standing a short distance from him. That's a little kind of translation. It's already an explanation. It's written, Nitzovim Nikrosom, standing in front of Nikrosom, standing in front of him. And then he ran to them and he bowed down to them. Okay, he said.
But before we get there, there's a big debate in a lot of sources as to whether God is one of these figures or whether God is making a spiritual appearance and then the three strangers approach.
You're right.
What's your...
The Gemara says God made a spiritual, as we're going to learn in a few minutes.
Okay.
We'll discuss it too.
Okay.
Yeah. He said, you want to continue?
He said, Sir, if you would, do not go without stopping by me. Let some water be brought and wash your feet. Rest under the tree. I'll get a morsel of bread for you to refresh yourself. Then you can continue on your way. After all, you are passing by my house.
He begged them to stay with him, and he will feed them. He will give them water, give them wash their feet, and rest under the tree, and I will give you a piece of bread. They said, all right, go ahead.
All right, they replied. Do as you say. Abraham rushed to Sarah's tent and said, Hurry, 3 measures of the finest flour. Knead it and make rolls. Abraham ran to the cattle and chose a tender, choice calf. He gave it to a young man who rushed to prepare it. Abraham fetched some cottage cheese and milk and the calf that he prepared, and he placed it before his guests. He stood over them as they ate under the tree.
He gave them milk and meat and cottage cheese and... What with the bread? Gave them bread?
Well, she was making it.
Not yet, she was baking it.
Takes a while.
Okay.
Challah baking even then.
Okay, continue.
Okay, they asked him, "Where is your wife Sarah?" "Here in the tent," he replied. "I will return to you this time next year," said one of the men, "and your wife Sarah will have a son."
Suddenly he discovered that it's not regular people. He thought there are three strangers who come to visit. Suddenly they tell him, "Oh, next year you're going to have a son," you know. Regular guys on the street don't say it.
And they said, "Where is your wife Sarah? How do they know her name?" Where's your wife Sarah? How do they know who she was?
Exactly. That's they could ask, people. Abraham was a famous guy.
Oh, yeah.
Could be that people knew what's his name.
And certainly a stranger.
And maybe he called us, "Sarah, we need some more chvezvos, some cabbages."
Right.
But certainly at the age of 99, nobody's going to make a prediction as a stranger that he's going to have a son.
You're right.
She
Right.
was only 90.
She was only 90, a young woman.
Right, young.
Spring chicken.
Many years ago,
She
I
was
was speaking.
89.
I was speaking here, and I said,
Oh, yeah.
I met an old woman. She's 70. That a lady told me, "What?" Somebody was here who was 70. She got all insulted. 70 old. Then I learned there is no old. Go ahead.
Sarah was listening behind the entrance of the tent, and he was on the other side. Abraham and Sarah were already old, well on in years, and Sarah no longer had female periods. She laughed to herself, saying, "Now that I am worn out, shall I have my heart's desire? My husband is old."
And my husband is old. No, the same page. Just continue on the
Okay.
next
On the other
slide.
side.
God said to Abraham, "Why did Sarah laugh and say, Can I suppose, really have a child when I am so old?
Cut off, yeah.
It's cut off. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Is anything too difficult for God? At the
Point in time.
appointed time, I will return and Sarah will have a son."
Okay. God told Abraham, "Why is Sarah not believing? Why she's doubting?" That's what God said. Sarah was afraid, and she.
Sarah was afraid and she denied it. "I did not laugh," she said. Abraham said, "You did laugh." The strangers got up from their places and gave.
That's the end of the
said-
story. That's it. That's the story we're going to analyze tonight. That's the text. We have a text. 3 people came. A short story. Hello. Sit right here. We know who came to say to Abraham that he's having a child. Now we'll see how the Talmud learns every word from the story and analyze it. We'll take these papers, on the right side of the column in the right side, and we'll start with the Gemara. The Gemara expresses. The Gemara cites another teaching regarding this banquet, this meeting, this dinner. You see it?
Yeah,
Yeah. You want to continue?
Oh, I see.
Yes.
The Gemara cites another teaching related to this banquet?
Yes.
State
Rabbi Tanchum bar Chaniloi
Said, a person should never deviate from the custom of his surroundings.
A person comes to a city, he should behave like people in the city. He shouldn't try to be different. I mean, it's a dangerous statement to say, because whenever it's not contradicting Judaism, obviously. Where we learned it, go ahead.
For we find that Moses ascended to the heavenly heights, and he did not eat any food.
Okay, when Moses went up to heaven for 40 days and 40 nights, Moses himself says it in the book in the Torah, in the book of Deuteronomy, Lechem lo yochalti umayim lo shatiti. I did not eat bread, I didn't drink water. For 40 days Moses was fasting. Why? Because in heaven, nobody eats. That Moses didn't want to change the rules. When you go to a place, you behave like the place. In Rome,
Do as the right.
sure.
But in Jerusalem?
Oh, on the other end,
The ministering angels descended below to this world, and they did eat food.
now we know in our story, the angels came to Abraham and they ate food. Angels in heaven do not eat food. Here there was a whole meal, right? The Gemara expresses astonishment. Go ahead.
Do you really think it is conceivable to say that they ate? Angels are non-corporeal beings.
Did they eat food? Angels can eat? The Gemara explains,
rather say that they appeared as if they ate and drank.
they appear that look like they are eating and drinking. The point is that a person comes, the Talmud says it's not a place, when you come to a place, behave like the people in the place. Don't try to be different. It has many rules. For example, when you come to a place and they're holding 2 days Yontef, like from Israel coming here, even if you're an Israeli and you're here for a very short time and you don't have to observe the second day Yontef, you still cannot in public do work. People should not see that you are different than them. Then that's one lesson that we learn from it. Okay, continue.
Rav Yehuda said in the name of Rav, whatever Abraham did for the ministering angels himself, the Holy One, blessed be he, likewise did for Abraham's children
Oh,
himself.
here comes a very, very important lesson. When I give charity, there is a verse in the book of Proverbs, Malve Hashem Chayin Dar. When you give charity, you're giving a loan to God. God needs to give this guy food, right? God, for some reason, God didn't give him, but I give a loan to God. I'm paying for you. That God will pay you back. That's the point. God will pay you back with the same currency that you paid. The same exact thing. Then the Gemara brings here a lesson, the way Abraham treated the angels, that's the way God treated the children of Abraham later when they came out from Egypt. God pays back, sometimes right away, sometimes 10 minutes later, sometimes 10 years later, sometimes he pays back generations later. When we see people, young people are so successful and they are doing so well, and you ask yourself, I'm smarter than them. Could be. Right? They are so successful. Could be that the great-grandfather saved the Jew in Europe, jumped into the fire and saved the Jew, pulled them out. You never know what happened. God decides when he wants to pay, but God pays back. And the Gemara points out the way Abraham treated his guest, that's exactly how God treated the children of Abraham. Go ahead, finish this paragraph.
But whatever Abraham did, only through an agent, all right, the Holy One, blessed is he, likewise did for the children only through an agent.
Whatever Abraham did by himself to the angels, the God did by himself to his children. Whatever Abraham did to God through an angel, treated the angels through a messenger, the same thing he did it. The same thing Hashem, when he took care of the children, he did it to an agent, through Moses, to somebody else. That's what the Gemara says. Now the Gemara brings examples for it. Go ahead. The Gemara proceeds to list examples.
Then Abraham ran to the cattle. A wind went forth from Hashem and blew quail from the sea and spread them over the camp.
You know, Abraham ran by himself to the cattle to bring the meat. Before the Gemara, we didn't learn that he gave them tongue, the best meat available. Then when the Jewish people in the desert complained for meat, our Hashem sent the quail by himself. Not to a messenger. He didn't tell Moses, go to the market and pick up meat. Go slaughter for them cows. Go. It could be, God can do it. God can do it in 1,000 ways. God himself provided them with meat. What do you mean the first time or the second time?
Well, when God provided the quail, it turned to be very bad one time.
I know. But he provided them. Then what they did with that, what happened from it is a different story.
And then Abraham ran to the cattle. I thought he had his son, or I think it was Ishmael maybe, get the cattle for him.
Vela Boko Rotz Avrom. We just learned the text, right? Abraham ran to the cattle. That's what's written. He himself bought it.
Oh, what did he tell his lad to do?
To prepare the meat.
Oh, prepare. Okay.
But he was the first one. The Gemara says because he himself ran, therefore Hashem did it by himself. That's one example. The second example.
And Abraham took cream and milk. Behold, I shall rain down for you food from heaven. And Abraham stood...
Okay, let's stop right there. Abraham served them cream and meat.
Not kosher. Unless you wish.
Cream and milk. 1 second, here it says cream and milk.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Cream and milk, I'm sorry. Cream and milk. That this is to represent the bread from heaven, like manna. Then because Abraham himself served them with the cream and milk, that's why Hashem himself sent the Jews with manna. Manna came from heaven. No agents, no messengers, no helpers, no nothing. God himself for 40 years served the Jews with manna. Every morning he served them with manna. Right? That's the second thing. The third thing is,
And Abraham stood over them beneath the tree, and they ate. The choicest among poultry is the hen.
what do you
Did I go
read?
the wrong way? You go next
Go on
page.
the next page.
And they ate.
Yeah, right here.
Behold, I shall stand before you by the rock. And
Abraham, when he served the guest, he was standing up next to them like a waiter. What else you need? You need more? You need more? He was right there standing on top of them. Then the Gemara points out, as a reward, when Hashem took the Jews out of Egypt, and he, so to speak, served them, it's written, God tells Moses, as we'll learn later, why water, it was not from God. God told Moses, go and eat the rock, the first time. Ineni oimed al tzur, I'm standing by the tzur, by the rock. God was standing on them, the same expression, ve'hu omed alehem, and he's standing on them. By the guest, the same expression is put, God was right there waiting for Moses to take care of the Jewish people. And because they did it, and now comes number 4, a fourth example that because Abraham did it by himself, God also did it to the Jews by themselves.
And Abraham walked with them to escort them. Hashem went before them by day in a pillar of cloud to lead them on the way.
Just as Abraham, when the guest left, he escorted them, so too when the Jews left Egypt, God escorted them too. He went with the pillar of cloud, the clouds of glory and in the day, and the fire at night, he was there with them. That's our 4 examples that Abraham did by himself, and we all benefited from it. The lesson is, you do one little thing, and it could have, listen, what Abraham did, he did one time, one meal, that's it. Hashem did it for 4 years, right?
How do they make that connection? Really? How did the Talmud or the Gemara make a connection from Abraham to all these four?
Because I think this is the children of Abraham, right? Right?
Yeah.
Then the children of Abraham get what Abraham did. It's all because it's all based on measure for measure. Everything, in good and in bad, God forbid. It's all measure for measure.
Is this concept of foreshadowing, or is it really different than just foreshadowing?
What do you mean? What are you talking about?
A foreshadow would mean Abraham did something, and that is just a prediction of what God was going to do later. Or is it actually directly related in that sense?
It's, no matter how you look at it. I mean, it's directly related more. Because when you study the Bible and you see what happened, why certain things, I'll tell you, I think how the rabbis came up with this. Why water? What makes more sense? Should come from heaven. Water or bread? You tell me.
Water.
Water, right? Mm-hmm. What is happening in the desert? Everything upside down. The bread comes from heaven, and the water comes from the rock. Wouldn't it be more normal to give rain should come from heaven? A much easier miracle to bring rain from heaven than to take out water from the rock. And bread from earth should grow something, whatever, in a normal way. It's upside down. Bread from heaven, water from the rock. The rabbi said, what is going on? Why? That they went and they digged and they saw the source of all this. Abraham gave himself the bread, the food. Therefore God himself gave the food. Water he didn't give it by himself. He said, let water be brought for them. That God said also, let water be brought for them. I'm not bringing them. Somebody else will bring them. Because, besides this, that it shows you that everything that happened in the desert is completely against nature. Almost purposely, God wanted to make a point. how not natural the situation is. Bread from heaven, water from a rock, everything goes upside down.
Now look at in the third day of creation, you had vegetation, right? But the sun is created on the fourth day.
You're right.
What's the potential?
You're right. It's also not in the right order.
Right.
But it's a little more complicated because really everything was created on the first moment. It just was clarified, divided or organized, whatever you want.
It's a hierarchy, and
Yeah.
it's intelligibility, you know?
Yeah, the most important thing was created on Friday afternoon. We have seichel, that we are human beings. The intelligence talking about.
And the pillars of the clouds is another example you see, that we just brought up here in the desert. That's a miracle.
Sure. These are the four things that Abraham did by himself, and as a reward, God did it to the Jews by themselves. Now we'll go to the other things that Abraham did not provide it by himself.
These are all examples of actions that were taken directly by Abraham or the Holy One, blessed is he. The following two verses describe actions taken through an agent. Let some water be brought, and you shall strike the rock, and water will come forth from it, and the people will drink.
Okay, let water be brought. Hashem said also, let water be brought. Moshe, go bring them some water. Hashem couldn't bring them water. He gave them manna, he couldn't bring them water. Water we see every day, we don't even, doesn't take a miracle. Here in the desert, not usually comes water. But God sent Moses because Abraham didn't send a messenger. That's what the Gemara says. Now comes an argument. A little argument, not really much of an argument.
The Gemara presents a different view. However, this dispute, that statement of Rabbi Chama, the son of Rabbi Hanina, for Rabbi Chama, the son of Rabbi Hanina, said, and similarly, it was taught from a Baraisa in the academy of Rabbi Ishmael. In reward for the three things that Abraham did, the Jewish people were merited three things. In reward for the cream and milk, Abraham gave the ministering angels. The Jewish people merited the manna. In reward for, and Abraham stood over them, they merited the pillar of cloud. In reward for, let some water be brought, they merited the well of Miriam.
It's not much of an argument. The only argument here is only what do they deserve because Abraham was standing in top of the guest and serving him. Where before we learned that God was standing by the rock and waiting for them. Here we learn that because of that God protected the Jews for 40 years because he was standing for the guest. The whole 40 years of the clouds of glory came because of him standing on top of them. Just, I would say, small differences. Okay. Continue. The Gemara cites...
The Gemara down here.
Well, the Gemara cites several verses related to Abraham's banquet and expounds them. Abraham told the angels, let some water be brought and wash your feet and recline beneath the tree.
Okay. Why have Abraham wanted them to wash their feet?
It's hospitality in the desert for people's feet are hot and dry. And
That's a simple explanation.
What was it with? I'm trying to remember when Lot washed the feet of the people.
Lot did not tell them to wash their feet. Just the opposite.
He did what?
They did not wash their feet by Lot.
Not.
Here they washed their feet. Let's see what the Gemara says. Rabbi Yanai, the son of Rabbi Shmuel, said,
the angels replied to him, why have you asked us to wash our feet before entering your tent? Do you then suspect us of being Arabs?
Did what? They continue on top of the
Who
page.
bow down to the dust of their feet as a form of idolatry.
They believed in the God of the road. God of the ways, of the road, that protects them in the road. Then the dust that they got from walking was considered like a residue of this God. And they didn't wash their feet. Abraham did not want anything of idol worshipping inside his house. And he told them, wash your feet before you walk in. I don't need any type of idol. And then again, basically, Abraham taught there are three Arabs, right? And he suspected them that they are idol worshippers. right? Therefore, he wanted them to wash the feet. He did not. They didn't tell him, Rudia. The Gemara says, he finished this line.
Yet it comes from you, and you, that Ishmael, who regularly does this, has come.
They told, basically, the Talmud says, you suspected people who were not idol worshippers. To be idol worshippers, God rewarded you, God forbid, God measure for measure, that the Arab nation who are actually worshipping this type, were used to worship this type of idol, came out from Abraham, from his own home, Ishmael. At that time, actually today's Arab world are believing in God, are not idol worshippers. Actually, they are much more closer to the Jewish religion, philosophically, than Christianity, because they believe in one God, and they said that Muhammad is only a prophet. They don't think he's a part of God. They accepted Abraham's belief of the oneness of God. Monotheism is a part of their belief. That's a monotheistic religion. But here it says, Ishmael came out from him, who is doing actually like the Arabs at that time, because yes, they suspected, because Abraham suspected them to do the same thing. Ishmael was already alive at this meeting. He was 13 years old. He was not an Arab yet. He was not doing other things, but eventually that's what came out from him. Okay, another teaching.
Hashem appeared to him in the plains of Mamre, while Abraham was sitting at the entrance of the tent in the heat of the day.
Then the question is, why the Torah describes it was the heat of the day? You know, this whole story could be written in 2 lines. 3 angels came, they ate, and they told Abraham, you're going to have a son. Who cares what they fed them, how they fed them, what Abraham told them, to go, not to go, it was out, it was good. The Torah doesn't write things for nothing. That's why the Talmud is analyzing every line and every expression and learn something from it. Because if God told Moses to write in the Torah these things, obviously every word has a lesson. Because the same story could be written, think about, even from a practical point of view. And the time of Moses, writing was so hard that you only wrote things that are very important. All the little things, who cares? They ate cream cartridges, really? Oh, very important. Very important what they ate, who cares? They ate, they had a meal and they told finished. It was other day, really, we need to know the weather of that day that Abraham was circumcised. Why we need to know that? Must be that there is a lesson here. Go ahead.
What does in the heat of the day signify? Rabbi Chama, the son of Rabbi Hanina, said that day was the 3rd day after Abraham's circumcision, and the Holy One, blessed is he, came to inquire as to the well-being of Abraham, i.e. to visit the sick.
Okay, it was a very hot day. And it was the 3rd day of the bris. According to tradition, the 3rd day of the bris is the most painful day. I never interviewed the baby. I didn't interview adult who had a bris, but the Talmud says the patient is the most weak. And it's even when you do surgeries, the first day when they're drugged up, everybody thinks tomorrow morning he's going to jump and dance. And then when the drug wears out, then he remembers they had the surgery big time. I always tell people, I'm going to do a small surgery, I'll be in and out. I said, no problem, God bless you, should be able, but just know. Don't expect to go to work the next day. Okay, why God took out the sun from why was such a day? Go ahead.
The Holy One, blessed be he, took the sun out of its sheath and let it blaze forth upon the earth, so that this righteous man, Abraham, should not be bothered with guests. Okay, that first of all, God came to visit him because it was the most painful day, and by God visiting him, it's already curing him. And that for me, we learn to visit the sick. Learning from visit the sick, we have to be like God. God visit the sick, we visit the sick. Then he made sure it's a very hard day that no guests will come. They know Abraham is crazy about guests. That was his main thing.
He will want to guest. God made such a day, no guest will come. What happened? Nevertheless,
Abraham went out of his way to obtain guests. He sent Eliezer, his servant, to go outside and look for people he could invite. Eliezer went out and looked, but did not find anyone. He reported this to his master, Abraham, and said to him, I do not believe you.
look what's going on. He sent his servant. Eliezer was known to be not just a regular servant. He was like the disciple. He was like the chief of staff of Abraham. He was as close to Abraham as you can. He was spreading the belief of Abraham of God to the rest of the world. He sent Abraham to look for guests. Eliezer couldn't find guests. Abraham told him, I don't believe you. Eliezer he didn't lie to him, but Eliezer was happy that there was no guest. He wanted Abraham to rest. He told him, I don't believe you, Abraham told him. Because he knew he has an agenda. He loves Abraham too much and he wants him to rest. What?
Before Abraham had Ishmael and Isaac, he was thinking that Eliezer would be his.
He was complaining to God that Eliezer will take him over. Yes.
Right.
This is true. But it was in a complained way, not in a good way. He told God, who is Eliezer going to take over? Yeah, you're right.
That's right.
You're right. Eliezer, that's how close Eliezer was with him.
Right.
Later the Talmud says, the Rashi says that Eliezer wanted Isaac to marry his daughter. That's how close they were, and he felt like he can become family. But the idea that Abraham, no matter how painful he was, he wanted guests. The Rebbe used to give out dollars every Sunday. Send for 5-6 hours, meet people, give them a blessing. Everybody had a small question, and he gave them $1 for blessing. 5-6 hours. It was times that his hand was swollen, they had to put his hand in ice. But when he ended, he used to ask every time, more? Anybody more? More? It was never enough. Is anybody still there? That's what he learned it from Abraham. Okay, what he did, go ahead. He told him, I do not believe you.
Okay.
This
Incidentally bears out what they say there in Eretz Israel. There is no credibility among slaves. Abraham went out himself. He saw the Holy One, blessed is he, standing by the doorway.
He went out by himself from the tent to look for guests. Suddenly, he sees God. Obviously, he didn't see him in a physical way. But he sensed that God is standing outside the door. God did not enter the tent. God was by the door. Okay.
That explains what is written. And Abraham said, My Lord, if I find favor in your eyes, please pass not away from your servant.
The Gemara learns that the word "my Lord" do not pass away, do not go away from your servant. He was saying to God, not to the three people. He told them, "My Lord." He was speaking to God. Stay, wait for me while I'm finding the guests. First of all, if Abraham would not go out to look for guests, he might never know that God is outside of the tent. When you go look for guests, you find God. God is not in your loch. And you go out of your own comfort zone, then you find God. Go ahead.
And Abraham said, My Lord, if I find favor in your eyes, please pass not away from your servant. As soon as he saw that Abraham was tying and untying the bandages surrounding the area of his circumcision, he said, It is not good.
At the same page, don't turn the pages.
It is not good manners to remain here.
God saw that Abraham is in pain. He was bleeding, changing his bandages. That God says, I don't want to go in. It's not, he stayed outside. Then, that's what God saw. Go ahead.
Now something similar occurred with the angels. That explains what is written. Abraham lifted his eyes and saw, and behold, 3 men were standing over him.
Standing over him, not like the translation we learned before. He saw 3 men standing over him, and a minute later we read, go ahead.
He saw, so he ran toward them.
What does this mean? He saw and he ran toward them. If they're standing in front of them, what means they saw in front and he ran to them? Go ahead. Initially
they came and stood next to him. When they saw he was in pain, however, they said, "It is not good manners to remain here," and they left.
Oh,
Abraham.
one second. What do we learn from it? They saw he's in pain. First of all, they were close. They left. Then he ran after them. That's when we visit a sick person, we have to see if he's in pain. If he's in pain, he doesn't feel good. He's not there to entertain you. You're there to take care of him. You walk in, if you see that the person is not in a comfortable position, say, "Hi, I love you," and you leave. You don't bother him. I mentioned many times, Rabbi Kazen told me, Rabbi Kazen who passed away, he was once in the hospital, I came to visit him, he tells me, "Yesterday I was in such pain, gefährlich." And he says, people from his synagogue came to visit him. He said they were sitting and sitting and sitting. And finally he told them, he didn't know this story, but he told them another story with angels. He told them, on Friday night we sing the song Shalom Aleichem, welcome angels. Then we tell them, thank you for coming. Then we tell you, bless me angels. Then we tell them, goodbye angels. He tells them, my friend, you are like angels to me. You understand that it's a sensitive thing to go. On one end, we have to go to visit the sick. On the other end, we have to feel if they want us. And Jewish law says that you have to let the sick talk. He should dictate the visit. It's not, I came here, I came all the way from Chveis Yupetzten for 5 minutes. Yeah, if he's sick, you have to help him, not to be a burden on him. Then Hashem didn't want to enter the tent, and the 3 angels didn't want to enter the tent. Abraham had to run after the angels. Continue. Howard. The Gemara remarks.
Who were these 3 men? The angels, Michael, Gabriel, and Raphael.
Michael, Gabriel, and Raphael. Michael, is the name of the angel who is protecting the Jewish people, the defender of the Jewish people. Michael is Saram Shel Yisrael. That's why so many Jews in America are called Michael. It's a very Jewish name, Michael. Especially 100 years ago. I don't know how many Michaels are born today, but Michael was a very, very popular name by the Jewish people. Michael is the angel that protects and defends and loves the Jewish people. Then was the second angel was Raphael. Raphael comes from the word refuah. Refuah means cure. The angel who cures people is called Raphael. The Baal Shem Tov said that with every doctor goes an angel. And with a big doctor, the angel Raphael himself goes. That if angels goes with you, what is there to be worried about? Because the angel, what does this mean? Not the doctor cures the person. The doctor is an agent of God to cure the person. And why is it sometimes it works? He did the same thing by 2 patients. One time it worked. It's up to God. That's Raphael. And Gabriel, what's the word Gabriel?
Strength.
Gvura. Gvura is a discipline, judgment. That's the angel who is coming to destroy Sodom, as we'll learn in a second. Okay, continue.
Michael, who came to relay good tidings to Sarah that she would bear a son.
He came to bring good news. Any Jew, any person who brings good news becomes a Michael, becomes a Michael. We should call him Michael. He's the angel who brings good news. Go ahead.
Raphael, who came to heal.
There are people who like to bring bad news. You meet one person, after talking to him 5 minutes, you think the world is coming to an end. You go out away from him, you feel you need to go take a vacation after so many bad news. You heard this guy is sick and this guy is this and this guy. After 5 minutes, oh my God, I can't take it anymore. On the other hand, there is some people, you talk to them, I'm a chaya. There's good news, another piece of good news, and here it's going good. Pleasure. It's up to us. We want to be Michael or not. Which angel do we want to be? Angel is a messenger, you know that? The word angel in Hebrew, malach, has 2 meanings. An angel and a messenger. Then an agent. It's up to us what type of messengers we want to be. Of good types or of bad types. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Raphael, who came to heal Abraham, and Gabriel, who went to overturn Sodom.
Then Michael came to bring good news to Sarah. She's going to have a baby. Raphael came to cure Abraham, and Gabriel came to destroy Sodom. What lays behind it? Angels do not have two missions at the same time. They cannot get it like robots. They do one thing at a time. And therefore, every angel has a different mission. More correct to say, not that he cannot do two missions, it had to be two missions of the same kind, not different missions. The same angel is doing good cannot be the same angel is doing bad. Angels human beings are higher than angels. We can be a combination of good and bad. We can be chesed and gvura, kindness and strictness. An angel or is kindness or is strictness. There is no two together. You cannot combine them. Okay.
But it is written in one of the later verses, the two angels came to Sodom in the evening, yet you said that only Gabriel went to overturn Sodom.
Why we need two angels? If only Gabriel is there to destroy, to overturn Sodom, it's written later. It's written 3 people came to Abraham. Then a few minutes later, on the next page we read, 2 angels arrived to Sodom. Why we need 2?
They were so terrible, it needed 2 people to.
Okay, we see what the Gemara says. Go ahead, what the Gemara answers.
The Gemara answers, the verse refers to 2 angels because Michael went with him to save Lot.
We needed a good angel there too. Michael went there to save Lot. One angel was there to destroy Sodom. Believe me, if one angel cannot do it, 10 angels will not help him. If he's an angel, he can do it by himself. If he's not an angel, 2 will not make it better. The other angel was there to do a good thing, to save Lot. Okay, this is also, in this explanation,
That only one angel actually destroyed Sodom is also indicated by the wording of the verse, for it is written, and he overturned these cities, but it is not written, and they overturned.
the language that the Bible is using is a singular. Vayafoch et kol harim. He turned over the cities, not they turned over the cities. From this we learn that only one angel turned over the city, only Gabriel. Michael, 2 guys came. One came to save Sodom, to save Lot, and the other one came to turn over Sodom. We see it also how later he spoke to Lot. There was an angel with Lot, that's clearly. The Torah tells the story. Okay, the Gemara asked,
Why is it that in regard to the invitation of Abraham, it is written that the angel said immediately, do so just as you have said, whereas in regard to the invitation of Lot, it is written, the angels would not agree until he urged them very much.
the same angels, when they came to Abraham, and Abraham invited them to come to his tent, right away they said, do as you said. Came to Lot. Lot met the 2 angels on the street. He begged them to go in. They didn't want to go. They said, no, we'll sleep on the street, on the road. Barechov nalin. We'll sleep on the road. He begged them, he had to beg them more. That why the same angels? To Abraham, they said, yeah, we'll go to you. To Lot, no. You had to beg them a lot until finally they came. That's the question that the Gemara is asking. What the Gemara answers? Something very interesting.
Rabbi Eliezer said, from here we may derive that the one may refuse a lesser man, but the one may not refuse a great man.
When somebody is asking you to do invite you to do something or whatever, if it's a very important man, you don't say no. If it's less important, you say no. Let him. If he begs a lot, then you'll do it. We see it in an interesting law in Jewish law, and somebody is asked to lead the service. Jewish law says that you refuse, and only when they tell you a few times, then you go. You don't want to show that you are eager to be the leader. Right? But this is when a regular person is asking you. But when a very great rabbi is asking you to do something, you don't say no. Abraham is asking them to invite them to the tent. They say yes. Lot? No. Wasn't such a big tzaddik, Lot, right? Then Lot is asking you, they took the liberty to let them beg, basically. The Gemara continues.
Continues. It is written that Abraham made this modest offer to the angels, I will fetch a morsel of bread. Yet it is written afterwards that then Abraham ran to the cattle and took a calf.
Abraham, when the three angels came, were outside his tent, what he promised them? I'll give you a little bit of bread. What he actually gave them?
What?
A full meal. Cottage cheese, and cream, and milk, and meat, everything.
I wonder why he was called the first Jew, right?
It's all about food, huh?
Eat, my kin.
Go ahead, please.
Rabbi Elazar said, from here we may derive that the righteous say,
A lot, a little.
promise little and do much. The wicked, on the other hand, say much and perform not even a little.
Very important lesson. Oy, 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 oy. Tzaddikim, righteous people, promise little and deliver much more. Wicked, promise a lot and give very little, and do very little. There is a joke. Why, in the olden days, they used to kiss the Torah with the mouth. People used to kiss the Torah with the mouth. Today we put the hand. Why the change? That they say in the olden days, we used to kiss the Torah with the mouth and give charity with the hand. Today we kiss the Torah with the hand and we give charity with the mouth. We only promise. Yeah, I'll do, I'll give, I'll do. Comes to the action, it's dead. It's all about that. It's an old Jewish tradition, tzaddikim in general, because the Torah is so sensitive to what a person promises and he doesn't live up to. Therefore, righteous people were always promising very little. And it's in general, it's a good thing. You promise a little, then whatever you give more, people will surprise and appreciate it. You deliver much more than you promised. When you promise the world, if you give 1 inch less, people are disappointed. Then here we learn tzaddikim. Abraham promised a piece of bread and delivered the whole meal. Rishonim, just the opposite. Where we see which wicked we have in the Bible. The Gemara examines this last statement.
From where do we know that the wicked act thus? From Ephron, who sold the cave of Machpelah to Abraham as a gravesite. Initially, towards the beginning of their negotiations, it is written, and Ephron replied to Abraham, saying to him, my Lord, heed me.
Okay, what's the story? Abraham Sarah passed away, as we learn in the beginning of Parshas Chayesor, 2 Parshas away. And he needed a burial place for her. He went to look, he found this cave of Machpelah in Hebron, it was still there. And he told, Ephron was the owner, and he told Ephron, I want to bury the plant. I want to buy it for me. He said, no need to buy, just bury you, you're dead. What is it between me and you? 400 shekels, nothing. Bury her. Continue.
Land worth 400 silver shekels between me and you? What is it? Bury your dead. However, at the end it is written, Abraham hated Ephron, and Abraham weighed out to Ephron the price which he had mentioned in the hearing of the children of Heth. 400 silver shekels is negotiable currency.
He gave them negotiable currency, yes. Continue.
That is, Ephron would not take anything but centenaria from him, since there was a place where they called a shekel a centenar.
Bottom line is, when push came to shove, Ephron took the best money. He didn't take shekels, he took dollars. He wanted the best money that goes everywhere. You can use it in every country. Not only he didn't give it to him for free, he charged them, he made them pay on the highest price. That's an example of somebody who talks big. When it comes to action, he doesn't give you anything. He wants full amount of money. Abraham, on the other hand, then the Talmud puts Abraham and Ephron. You want to be like Abraham, you want to be like Ephron. Then the Jewish way to do things that we learn from the Bible is promise little and deliver much more. Instead of promising a lot and delivering nothing.
But Abraham wanted the land to be legitimately his, so he wanted to pay.
He wanted to pay, but it doesn't mean you have to take the highest price and the best money. Yeah, we wanted to pay. Doesn't mean you have to pay more than it's worth. You're right, Abraham wanted legitimate should belong to him. That's why we learn that, for example, a grave is something that a person should pay for. It shouldn't be, nobody should have, Abraham didn't want anybody should have a claim on his place. It should be paid and finished. And it's one of the three places then the Jewish people, clearly the whole world agrees that the Jewish people paid for. The Temple Mount, King David bought it from Aravno. Jacob bought the tomb of Joseph that was just put on fire. He paid for it. And the cave of Machpelah. In all these three places that we actually paid for, it doesn't help us. They're still disputed. These places are disputed today. Okay, the Gemara continues.
The Gemara continues its exposition of the verses related to Abraham's hospitality. When Abraham asked Sarah to make cakes for the guests, it is written first that they should be made from meat, i.e., meal, i.e., inferior flour. And then it is written that they should be made from fine flour. Which was it? Rabbi Yitzhak said, Sarah suggested meal and Abraham suggested fine flour. From here, we may derive that a woman is stingier than a man towards guests.
We can get in trouble with this. I mean, in many cases, women are much more hospitable than men. But in Abraham and Sarah case, Abraham was more the hospitable guy, the softer guy, the kinder guy. If Abraham was chesed, Sarah was gvura. We see it also with the story with Hagar. Abraham wanted to keep her, Sarah said send her away, and so on and on. Not that Sarah was wrong, but it was two different personalities. Abraham was chesed, Sarah was gvura. Ishmael was actually like Abraham, he was chesed. Ishmael, he was kindness. Isaac was actually like Sarah in personality. He was more introverted person, more gvura, more strict. The Gemara continues.
It is written that Abraham asked Sarah, knead and make cakes. But when Abraham served the angels, it is written, he took cream and milk and the calf which he had prepared and placed these before them. However, he did not bring the bread cakes before them. Why did Abraham withhold the bread?
You remember in the beginning, I asked, what happened to the bread? We don't see anywhere he actually served bread. He told her, bake cakes, bake bread, and then nothing happened to it. The Gemara explains. Go ahead.
Ephraim
Miksha, in the name, the disciple of Rabbi Meir said it in the name of Rabbi Meir. I saved you this trouble.
Okay, our forefather Abraham was someone who ate even his own ordinary food in a state of Tahara,
a state of purity. So, continue.
And that every day,
and that very day,
our mother Sarah began menstruating and thereby became tamid,
impure.
This made the bread she was preparing tameh, as well as thus unfit for Abraham's table.
Basically, because she was menstruating this day, she baked the bread. Abraham was on such a level that he was eating only pure bread, even regular bread. And therefore he didn't want to eat from the bread. The Maharsha says, other commentary says, basically the bread was overbaked. Something happened to the bread. The bottom line is the bread that never made it to the table. Therefore, manna came to the Jewish people. It's not written because of the bread, because of the milk and the cheese that is served to the angels. Not because of the bread, because the bread was actually never served. When something is never served, you cannot get reward for it. I had good intention. Go ahead.
I have a question. Could this statement be made that suddenly she, I guess, like became fertile?
Yeah, that's the whole idea.
All right.
Because the three angels came and told her she's going to have a child, she got back her youth. Absolutely. Okay. That's the whole thing behind it. Absolutely. Yes. But, an important thing I heard lately, it's a good line. We judge ourselves by our intentions. The world judges us by our actions. Very important to remember. Very important to remember. In Judaism, it's all about the actions. Okay. The Gemara continues.
Okay. The Gemara continues. They said to him, "Where is Sarah your wife?" And he said, "Behold, in the tent." Scripture reports this to make known that our mother Sarah was a modest woman. Rav Yehuda said,
Then they asked, where is Sarah? Actually, obviously she was not there. That why the Talmud tells the story, why the Torah tells the story, to point out that she was modest, she had her own tent, she didn't mix with the party of the men, so to speak. Rabbi Yehuda says, in the name of Rav,
and some say it was
Rabbi Yitzchok,
Rabbi Yitzchak, the minister and angels knew that our
Mother, Sarah.
in the bottom of the same page,
that our
guys.
mother Sarah was in the tent. But why then did they prompt Abraham to tell them she was in the tent? They did so in order to endear her to her husband.
To endear the husband, where is your wife? They asked, they want to know. It was a way of showing that they care, giving attention. That's why they did it. Rabbi Yossi Bar Hanina says a third explanation why they asked about her.
In order to send her the cup of blessing, i.e. the cup of wine over which Birkos Hamazon was recited.
When there is a big crowd, when there is more than a minyan, you can take a cup of wine and say the blessing, the grace after meal over a cup of wine. Then from this wine, you give, everybody can drink. It's considered kosher bracha. It's like, because a blessing was recited over the wine, it's a special merit to drink from this wine. They ask, where is your wife? We want to send her some wine. Kosher bracha, that's what it's called. Cup of blessing. Okay, now comes the Braise was taught in the name of Rabbi Yossi.
Why in a Torah scroll are there dots on the letters Aleph, Yud, Vav of the
Word Elav, yeah, go ahead.
The Torah teaches proper manners here, that a person should inquire as to the welfare of his hostess. The angels did this when they inquired after Sarah.
Okay, with this point we'll finish. Even there is more to learn a little bit, but we got the main point. There is sometimes in the Torah, there is dots over words. In general, there is no punctuation in the Torah itself. Nothing.
Right.
But there is a few words in the Torah, quite a few. I mean, I don't know how many, I never counted. Not too many, but there are, who have dots over the word. When there is dots over the word, it's like underlining. What is called underlining, they are above lining. The dots over, it says there is dots over the word they love. Why? A person, the way the Talmud learns it, a person should always, when he comes to a house, he should inquire over the wife of the host, the hostess. Somebody prepared the food, somebody prepared the house. How is she doing? Tell her thank you. To be a mensch. That was the Talmud is teaching us. Let's stop right here.